And I'm going to put Maureen on the spotlight and give you screen sharing
Cool.
permissions. And we're really grateful and excited today to have Maureen Delorme introducing us to the fundamentals of aromatherapy. Um, and we will have about 30 minutes of presentation and potentially a question or two from Maureen to the audience. And then we'll open it up for anyone who wants to dig into any topic further. And without further ado, Maureen, take us away.
Yes, okay. So I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. So yes, fundamentals of aromatherapy. So I have a little presentation. I tried to make it as entertaining as possible, but please, for everyone who's here, feel free to stop me and ask me question or, react, respond to what you see. And please just, if you have questions. So welcome, I'm Maureen. And yes, let's just take a grateful breath together and just kind of arrive here together. This is like a big part, breathing is a big part of aromatherapy. Just being present. Yes, and I just want to say that my intention is to share my profound love for nature and specifically aromatherapy and essential oils with you guys, and also the miracle of the immune system, because that's like super fascinating to me. Disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, but I'm a giraffe, which means that I'm very much into biohacking and health and wellness and all the good stuff, but I'm not a doctor. However, I'm a certified aromatherapist, and I've had to do many, many hours of studying, anatomy, physiology, and also the way that essential oils work and why they work, etc. So those are my credentials, and I've been using them for like 10 plus years. And I haven't had to go to the doctor for things like flu, colds. I'm just, using them from
30th from 5 to 6:30 p.m. Franklin Academy.
Is that good? Okay. So I want to do this in 3 parts. So the first one is first answering what is aromatherapy, and then why it works and how you can get started. So what is aromatherapy? So the word aromatherapy was coined in 1928 by a French pharmacist and chemist, and I'll speak more about him later. It's very deeply woven with France, and I'm actually French, so that was kind of a surprise to me when I got into it. And so aroma means spice or sweet herb in Greek, and therapy means healing and service. And so it's this idea of there's some plants that are aromatic and have healing properties. And so essential oils, they come from a variety of plants, like from the wood of trees or leaves, or like fruits like berries. They come from also like the peel of citruses, flowers, and also like resins. So pretty amazing. And they're so yeah, you can see really it's all the things that we use for cooking. There's like a tradition across the world, across all cultures, across all eras. Everyone in all human, all the different groups across continents, we have used spices and herbs to cook, to heal, and to also just like use as perfume and fragrance, and also to use in rituals and sacred, just anything that has to do with our relationship with the divine. So you can see here there's, myrrh, frankincense, sage, palo santo. So all these, the way that we use them and the smell comes from the oils that are inside. And And so those are essential oils. And I just want to put this into perspective. They come from plants, trees, flowers, and these are ancient beings. They're way older than we are. So they've been around for much longer time than us. So I feel very humbled that we have developed a technology to distill their essence. And I always kind of think like, what does that even mean? Like, it's their essence. It's really their almost like superpower condensed in like these like drops of superpower. So imagine if you were to be distilled, it's like your essence or your soul in the little bottle, so that's kind of the way I think about it. It's just very ancient technology that we've managed to extract with our technology. And there's a very special relationship between these aromatic compounds and our brain. So the scent, the olfaction is the only sense that bypasses our neofrontal cortex. So it bypasses the analytical mind, and it goes straight to the emotional, like limbic, thalamus, like the emotional centers of our brain. So which is why when you smell something, you may be taken back in the past, or it reminds you of someone that really like you love, or some, it just takes you right back to that moment, because it completely bypasses the conscious mind and basically just goes straight to the subconscious. And the way it works is that you have these like olfactory compounds, and they just go in and they just trigger responses. And if you think about the relationship, like our ancestors from like way back, we've been smelling these plants and flowers for like ever. So even our relationship to scent is very, very ancient. And it just transcends time. Like, Max, you were talking about time, and smell is a way to transcend time and space. And it's kind of mind-blowing for me when I think that some of these plants have been around for so long. And I mean, our ancestors were like picking roses and just enjoying the smell, So now in terms of getting a bit more like into it so what are essential oils? And aromatherapy is really this idea of using essential oils to heal. So using them for like medicinal purposes for well-being and health. So if you say essential oils, this is like kind of what everyone is going to think about, the little bottles. And, it's all these amazing plants that, as I shared before, that can be the aromatic ones and the flowers and all of that. So if you actually, look through a microscope, they're like biochemicals, and they're highly volatile. And but those are the compounds that make essential oils that powerful, do what they do. So for example, one that's super famous is menthol. So menthol comes from, like the peppermint or mint plant. And so you can kind of see like if you're a chemistry geek, go for it, because there's chemical families within essential oils, and that's how scientists and researchers have discovered, why does this essential oil do that? Why is this one like antimicrobial and da-da-da-da-da? And then kind of isolating molecules and compounds and trying to, make them like synthetically and, because these are precious resources, essential oils. And so, yes, they're vehicles for information from one organism, which is a plant, to another, which is humans. So it's pretty cool, just sharing information on a totally like subconscious molecular level, sharing intelligence. And the way that we have figured out how to extract the oils from the plant is through the distillation process. And it's very much like alchemy. It totally is. And basically you just have to gather the plant materials and then you put them in the distillery, the steel machine that you see, and you just heat it, and the oil separate from, they come out of the plant, and then you separate it from the water part, and that's how you get it. And it takes so much material, like plant material, to get like one drop. It's actually insane. The kilos of leaves or rose flowers and petals that you need to just make one bottle, like for rose or flowers, one drop is intense. So it's pretty cool. Just to put it into like reality, what it actually looks like. This is in Haiti. It's a vetiver plantation. So vetiver is a root. And so the root is distilled to get the essential oil. And you can see how much of the root is needed. Like it's just huge how much we need. And then, if it's in this industrialized distillation, you need like big, like a lot of the distillation machinery. And then what you get is at the very end is just the gold, the essence of the plant. Like really, it's actually pretty magical. I'm obsessed. And on Max and Adar, I think we should do like a Grateful Giraffe, like essential oil, like I don't know, something. And then you put it in a bottle.
Do it.
Max, yeah, I will.
Can we get like a lab to go to? We can see how the chemistry works, and then take away, like, are there essential oil tours, like a wine tour, but oil tour?
That would be so fun. And I'm sure that we can reach out to distillers and like people that do that, and they would be super open to it. That's one of my dreams. I just want to like travel the world and get to experience that, like, picking the flowers and just picking and putting them in the thing and watching the oil kind of do its thing. Super cool.
Is there an oil for manifestation that you can smell today, so that the chances of that happening go up?
I have a Palo Santo essential oil from my friend here. It's the best one, guys. So highly recommend everyone gets it. So manifesting Grateful Giraffe, adventure in Haiti on the vetiver distillery plant. But yeah, so basically, you just, that then people like doTERRA and all the other brands will, buy bulk and put it in a bottle, and then it's sold, on their website and or stores. Or you can also make perfumes. Like the perfume industry is huge. They use essential oils like a lot. So this one is Vétiver de Guerlain. Just another example of roses in the Rose Valley in Morocco. So it's just like so beautiful. It's just kind of like, I just wanted to share because I just think there's such a beautiful culture and traditions that have been maintained when, this is the traditional way, and there's more industrial ways of also to do that, like that are not as warm and pretty to look at, because it's just industrial, like the lavender fields, for example. Like I have a picture I'll show you. But yeah, and you put all the petals in there, and it's just the alchemy of it, and it comes out the other way. So, and then you make a product out of it and you sell it. That Le Labo, same, you can see all those are like elements that have essential oils that are part of that perfume. And so, France has this special role with aromatherapy, because in France, there's a tradition where it's medical aromatherapy. It's not just in the US and in the, it's more like kind of woo-woo a little bit, and it's cute. But over there, like they just do it in hospitals. You can get like a university degree and you're like a practitioner, and there's medical cases, and they use it internally, externally for really intense, like skin disease, like infections, and he just all kinds of things. So super, super special. And so this guy, René Gadefosset, he's a kind of the father of aromatherapy, and he's the person who came up with the word aromatherapy. And the way that he that kind of happened is that his family was in the lavender oil production business. And one day, he's a chemist, so he was in his lab, and there was an explosion, and he burned his hand. And he went to the hospital, and they couldn't do anything, and it started to get infected. And he started using lavender essential oil on it, and it kind of healed miraculously. And that sparked his interest into, understanding and finding out like how, like, this is like crazy, and so then he dedicated the rest of his life to the research and study of aromatherapy and essential oils. And then he was followed by Dr. Jean Valnet, who was a surgeon during World War II, a doctor, and he published this book called Doctor Nature, Nature Doctor, and literally he got suspended. So just to, the kind of the ethos back then in France in the 70s, where it's like, you don't really do that, like be a doctor and talk about natural remedies and natural therapies. It's just, yeah. And then there's someone who's still alive today, Dr. Penoel, and he's a speaker and a researcher, and he actually wrote a book called L'Aromathérapie Quantique. So it's like quantum aromatherapy. So just to share that there's a very vibrant culture in France of people that take aromatherapy and essential oils very seriously. And let me check the time. Do you guys have a question? Want to say anything, share anything, respond?
Why does it work?
Well, I'm going to get into it. You're ahead of me. Okay, so I will continue then. So this part, why it works actually is I want to kind of talk about the immune system, because that's a big one. And so the idea with the human body, and I'm sure because like giraffes are so into health and wellness, but our body is always seeking homeostasis, which is the tendency to always seek balance, harmony, ease. And this ease is actually the way that the body tries to return to homeostasis. And so it's that I like to think of like disease as like it's the absence of ease, but really that when we feel sick, it's our body is just trying to get back to normal. And so the immune system is, includes these organs, so like the lymphatic system, the spleen, the lymph nodes, and basically the bone marrow and the skin, of course. But there are all these parts of our body that are here to really protect us from pathogens and invaders and foreign bodies and just anything harmful. And the role of the immune system is to produce immune cells and to get them to the right place at the right time so that we can be maintaining homeostasis. And the lymphatic system, unlike the circulatory system, there's no pumping machine, there's no like heartbeat. So it will not move unless you do. So that's why it's super important for health and immunity to move. And because otherwise the fluid does not move, so it stays stagnant. And it's like the lymphatic system is where all the toxins are being, removed and circulated. And so it just stagnates and creates, toxicity buildup. And so the immune response is always ongoing in our body, but we just don't notice it. So our body is constantly monitoring like everything, and we're always in contact with bacteria, viruses, fungi, like parasites. It's just, but the immune system is working, and when it's doing its job, we don't feel anything, we don't have any symptoms. But when we do have symptoms, it's because the immune system is actually overwhelmed, and that's where the inflammatory response kicks in, and that's what feels like disease and infection. So just, to really, so we understand that what happens is like, for a virus, it just comes in and it will hijack our cells and replicate itself, instead of us replicating healthy cells. So when the immune system is overwhelmed, like normally if this happens, immune system comes in, white blood cells do the job, like, oh, virus, let's kick it out. But when it's not doing that, it's overwhelmed, and all of a sudden the virus can take over. And our immune system will be weaker if we are under stress, and if we are experiencing any kind of what, like in the book they call psychological collapse. So any like intense experience that we have in our lives, and basically that weakens our vital force. And the first thing that goes out the window is like basically like nervous system and the immune system. And so then wherever the weakness is where the infection will go. And it's really interesting to, there's a book called The Language of Your Body. And if you actually look where you get sick, there is a correspondence with a meaning. It's attached to a certain feeling. It could be like guilt or shame, or and depending on what part of the body, it means different things, and what kind of pathology also. So just very interesting.
Can I just ask a question real quick on that
Yeah.
front? So I've experienced a lot of stress the last couple years, moving from investing to entrepreneurship, but I really haven't gotten sick at all. So I've had more stress than ever before, but less illness. And then there's people like Adar who just never get sick, even though he might have guilt or shame or whatever. So is this like, grounded in all situations, or are there exceptions? Just what do you think of those two anecdotes?
Well, I think that it speaks to its uniqueness of each individual, we're all on a different path, and we all have we're all made up differently, so in terms of like the actual getting sick, like the cold, the flu, COVID, like, I mean, if you never get sick, that's amazing, but these are definitely things that across all books, it can create a little weakening of but everyone is unique. So that's pretty amazing that you're never getting sick, because I really believe in that. I believe in perfect health is possible, like where and maybe you and Adar are also maybe experiencing stress, but using techniques and rituals. I don't know what you guys do, but breathing, meditating, mindfulness.
We just do eye gazing for an hour in the morning and an hour before bed.
That's it. Connection.
I actually just eat stuff off the floor, so I feel like it strengthens my immune system over time. It's been my trick.
Oh my gosh. Actually, that's actually it's a part, it's mentioned somewhere. But yeah, no, uniqueness, I will say.
I cover all my food in essential oils. That helps.
You really should start doing that.
Go on. Sorry for the interruption.
No. Thank you so much. No, it's important because I don't want people to think that if you feel stressed, you will get sick. That's not at all what I'm saying. Or if you know, but that tends to happen if someone is sick all the time. Maybe they're actually not mindfully aware of the stress. And so, and then in terms of the theories of like how we get sick, there's the germ theory, which is, germ causes the infection. So, you like symptoms arise and you diagnose an infection, and then the goal is we have to destroy the germ, and that will heal the person. And then there's the terrain theory, which is the idea that no, you have your immune system is weakened, and that is causing the infection. So it's like, your vulnerability, your defenses are down, and that's what causes the infection. And then the symptoms arise because your immune system is trying to like, bring everything back to balance. And so the theory here is if you support your immune system to come back to balance, then you will heal the infection. So, and for me, this is not an either or thing. It's a both and. We're in the quantum reality now. We can hold two truths at once, and so germ theory, I think, is real, and terrain theory is real too. And maybe there's going to be a third one, like quantum theory. And so then when, and this is just really briefly, but when we do get sick and we have a cold, for example, the first thing that happens, and this is where I just want to share this because it's so insane that our body has evolved to do this, and it's pretty magical. Basically, we just have dedicated cells that are in our bloodstream, just checking in that no one is going to come in and destroy everything. And when they see that there's a virus or a bacteria that's kind of like getting a little out of control, they just send a signal. And then there's a second wave of, white blood cells, immune cells are like, oh, okay, we're coming. We're specialized in this type of virus. We'll handle it, And then if that doesn't work, the third wave is the actual like antibodies that take like 4 days to kick in. And those are just like literally poison to whatever that virus or thing is. And this is what viruses look like, by the way. And the antibodies. So these are just for just the amazingness of the human body, just all the immune cells. And essential oils are scientifically proven to increase immune cell counts. So ingesting or doing massages with essential oils when we feel like we're a little under the weather or when we're sick actually really can help boost, our immunity in a very like tangible, like simple way. It's just more immune cells. And so just very briefly, to understand symptoms, and the mechanisms of defense. When we're fatigued, when we're sick, it's just because our body is using all the energy to fight the virus. And instead of like maintaining our muscles and making sure our joints are healthy, all the cells are like, okay, we need to fight the virus. So then we have zero energy and we feel weak. And body aches is the same. It's just like proteins being released in the body that literally causes pain. When we have mucus, it's to expel the particles and microorganisms out of the airways. So that's why it's just our body trying to get rid of the stuff. And so depending on the color, it means different things. If it's like white snot, it's like, oh, something just came in. And if it's yellow, it's like there's a full infection going. When we have chills, it's the body's way to warm up the temperature, because that is not good for viruses if the temperature is higher, which is also why we have fevers. because fevers are not hospitable for viruses. And so literally there's these like biochemical substances that our body release, and like our brain is like, okay, raise the temperature so that, you know, we can get through that. So fevers, as much as we hate them, are actually brilliant, like brilliant, because they just help our body create a really unhospitable environment for viruses and bacteria, and and in addition to that, it creates so when we have because yeah, no, when we have a fever, what happens is that it dilates our blood vessels, and so it allows for more volume of blood to circulate. So that means more immune cells go to the infected areas. And in addition, it makes the blood vessel walls more permeable, so that the white blood cells can like jump out of the blood vessel into the area that needs healing. So that's what happens when we have a fever. It's really facilitating the immune cells to go where they're needed. But what it causes is the fluid buildup, which puts pressure and it causes pain. You know, so headaches are caused by that, you know, because if you have like sinus infection, like everything gets kind of like, the fluid gets built up, and, you know, it hurts and it's everywhere. And like when you have plugged ears, it's the same thing. So it's just literally the blood flow and the fluid being pushed into the area that needs the help of the immune cells. And then sometimes you can also have, you know, loss of taste and smell because it's blocked in your nose, you know, but also, and more rarely if there's nerve damage. So I'm sharing that, Adar, indeed, you know, disease is how the immune system is learning. And so when you said like eating food off the floor, I mean, it's basically, you know, I have a 9-year-old, and, you know, when the little ones put their mouth everywhere, well, you know, yes, that's basically what happens. Exposure to these like pathogens, it allows the immune system to learn. And so then in the future, you know, the first time, you know, we, you know, for those of us, I'm sure most of us had COVID the first time, it's like, oh, okay, now I know COVID, and it's like, okay, I'll remember that. Okay, so, and then the second time we had it, it was a little bit easier than the first. I'll speak for me, for sure. And so aromatherapy is really a natural tool to really support your immune system when it needs help. So that's for the immune system part. So if you have questions, don't hesitate. And if not,
Marianne, it's Bernard. I have one.
yes. Hi, Bernard.
Hi, how are you? So I've spent the summer learning about phytochemicals in fruits and vegetables and their health properties. And it feels like there is a parallel between using plant and vegetables and food as medicine as we eat them to cure cancer and other diseases through phytochemicals and what you're talking about. But I haven't heard use the term phytochemicals, which are those compounds in plants that have those active health properties. And it feels like aromatherapy is a way to ingest through the skin those phytochemicals to actually, at the cellular level, cure disease. Have you heard anything about this in this field of aromatherapy and this parallel between aromatherapy and the growing knowledge about plant and food as medicine through phytochemicals?
So I think that, so Jean Valnet, one of the 3 doctors, he was specifically focused on phytotherapy and aromatherapy. And aromatherapy, I think, is really focused on the biochemicals that are aromatic. And so really it's the essential oils of the world, which is only 10% of plants that produce essential oils. So it's a smaller scope. And I think that phytotherapy includes everything.
Okay.
That's my guess. But you're right, because you can literally put essential oils in your food,
Yeah, and absorb it this way. Yeah, I guess the big plants with very active phytochemicals maybe have no odor. We're talking broccoli, spinach, things like that, and maybe that's not very appealing from an odor standpoint. Maybe that's why they're not being distilled as essential oils.
Yeah, and they just don't have that oil that
oil.
is on, like, it's 10% of plants. I mean, and 10% of plants that we know. I'm sure there's like so many in the Amazons that we've never heard of, that have amazing oils. But it's very it's few actually that have oils, which makes them that much more special. And they're all the ones that were traded like on the Silk Road, the spices, the ones that we cooked with.
Yep. Spices and herbs in the food world have huge amounts of phytochemicals and are extremely active in curing disease. What is phytotherapy as opposed to aromatherapy?
So I'm the aromatherapy girl. So, and my guess is I invite you to check it out and let us know at the end. But I think that it's exactly that. It's what you described, but it includes really everything we can ingest, I would say, like, and natural. As opposed to aromatherapy is really like the ones that have the.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it's a broader term. Yeah, it's using plants as medicine. That's what it is. Yeah. But aromatherapy must be a subtopic of phytotherapy. I am sure that there are some of the plants you've talked about rang a bell, in particularly there's some spices and herbs like mint have very active phytochemical compounds. So if you were applying them to your skins, because those compounds through the skin act at the cellular level, I suspect through aromatherapy, you may be able to actually cure more disease than boost your immune system.
That's absolutely true. And like, I have there's books that have been written by French doctors where they document like clinical and there's remedies. They're like legitimate, and for example, an oil like oregano is antibiotic.
Yeah, and oregano is in the world of food, is one of the top phytochemical with the most properties.
Yeah, and antibiotic, except that with the difference from synthetic ones will go in and basically destroy your inner flora, where oregano is going in and basically just destroying like just the whatever needs to be destroyed without.
That's the power of phytochemicals. Like there are some that are actually reconfiguring our genes and are activating genes that are fighting cancer cells. So that's it's a fascinating field. The power of plants to actually reconfigure how our genes work.
And that's why I put that timeline of like the evolution of life on Earth in the beginning, because I feel like in a way we're descending from plants, and so there's something that's profoundly wise about us ingesting them.
Yeah, because those plants are making those compounds to actually fight disease themselves. The reason why plants have phytochemicals is actually to defend themselves.
Yes.
So when we eat them, we eat those same compounds and they act as defensive mechanism within our bodies.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the essential oils are the way the plant produces them in order to protect itself from like microorganisms, insects, and even like bigger animals that to repel them, which is also why many of the essential oils are insect repellent. Even for us, if you put like patchouli or lemongrass and citronella, like all those are insect repellent because the plant needs the plant evolved to somewhat magically just be able to create that to protect itself. So it's really
no, it's fascinating. It's like when you get into this topic, you feel you just don't need anything other than plants to be healthy. It's so the pharmacy is out there in nature, not at CVS.
So true. Yeah, very true.
Anyway, I don't want to hijack, but it was interesting, this parallel, because I don't know anything about about aromatherapy, but sounds like it's the same chemical mechanisms than phytotherapy, and just maybe in a narrower scope.
Yeah, and you might know more than you think. And yeah, and finally to wrap this up, I just wanted to give you guys just a little bit so you can get started if you don't already use essential oils. And so basically essential oils help us activate healing and balance our immune system, and they're really holistic. It's they don't, some of the synthetic compounds will just menthol will make your like blood vessel shrink so it feels cold, and it helps with pain, da 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 da. But if you do peppermint essential oil, you get like a full like 5D experience that just doesn't, it's not limited to, oh, it feels cold on my skin. No, it's really like they're people. I always say like essential oils are like people, and all of them are have anti-infectious properties to different degrees. Like something like oregano, because of a compound that's in it that's really strong, is going to be antibiotic, but every single one is anti-infectious. And some of them are even so strong that they're actually can be lethal, and you cannot even purchase them. So that's just to put things in perspective, because we just think they're these little things in bottles and that, but they're mighty. And also because of that really special relationship with our olfaction, it really helps with emotional like problems, anything that's alleviating stress. And it's a whole other form of therapy. It's called olfactotherapy, and that's something that I want to really dive into and do a training. And so it's basically healing through scent, and it's alternate, like helping alleviate your mood or change your mood just from the scent that you're smelling. And I think, Max, I will play with that in the room for the fest, because it's pretty cool.
Just to ask a question though, I mean, go back, the no undesirable side effects. I've put essential oils in my armpits and they burnt. And I've also, had some experiences in the self-pleasure world that have not turned out to be so side effect free. So just want to put an asterisk there to comment that it's not
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was that's coming up next, is safety, because they may be small, but they're mighty and they're hyper concentrated. So you always have to dilute them in like a carrier oil, like something like coconut oil, almond oil, jojoba oil. But yeah, that will happen.
Marie,
Yes.
I also had a question actually to maybe, can you elaborate more on external and internal use then? Because like it says external and internal use, but then 3 dots later is like a few are toxic and lethal. So is there a way to know which one you can if you can ingest them already? Because I'm not that into this topic, but yeah, can you elaborate a bit more there?
You can do internal use, and so internal means like you can ingest it. So like
Okay.
And external is like a massage or topical. Internal use, you definitely need to speak with an aromatherapist or a doctor. But you can buy, there's some supplement like Gaia, they have an oregano oil supplement. So you can find them, but there's very specific, you have to follow the guidelines and you have to do your research because they're very strong. That's the point. Like, for example, if you want to use cinnamon essential oil and you don't dilute it, well, good luck. Your skin's gonna burn. And some of them are also sensitive to sunlight. So they can burn your skin if you expose yourself to sunlight. And so I'm actually going to speak about this, but so these are some oils that are very safe and awesome to use. Oregano would be one that you have to be more careful with. And I have I can send everyone who wants it a PDF on how to use them, Peppermint, you also want to be careful. So you have to kind of know and have a little bit of a guide. I love using Pranolone, doTERRA is also wonderful, but it's just a bit more pricey. So this is like the oil of oregano I was talking about. So you just really want to make sure that you look at the directions. And so in terms of how to use them safely, if you're going to use them for therapeutic use, you have to buy organic and wild crafted. Don't buy them on Amazon. Don't buy them if it says pure essential oil. It needs the stamp, the organic, or it needs to be wild crafted. So just really go to places that care, because if you don't, then God knows what they can put in it, because then they're just looking for the smell, and it can be completely synthetic and you just have no idea.
Yeah.
And another thing to be very mindful of is the Latin name, because that also tells you how professional the sellers are, because you have many kinds. So just check for that. And then, for example, there's oils like eucalyptus, there's different kinds. And so they have different, and the chemotype, it speaks to the chemical that is the most in it. And so thyme, for example, there's different kinds based on what that little the chemical compound is, the most. Okay, so see, Max, I was going to talk about this. So applying it, just always use the carrier oil, always, there's some oils that are safe to use without, like lavender, can be tea tree, but pretty much everything else you have to use an oil to put them on your skin. And if God forbid, but if you put them in your eyes, don't try to wash it with water because they're oil, so it won't work. So you need to use oil to wash oil. So if even if you put too much on your skin and it starts to burn or become irritated, you just use olive oil or coconut oil to wash it off your skin. And then storing, they're very precious and they're very sensitive to light and heat. So keep them in a cool, dry place and away from sunlight and heat. So don't keep them in your car, just things like that. You just don't do that. No, they're very precious. And like I said, for me, they're like people. So I think it's cool to just play with them, just go to the store and just you can smell them and see which ones you like most and just take it and experiment. And that's it for me. And thank you so much.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
First of all, hi. And second, I was wondering if there is any of them that can increase your heart rate or blood pressure. The reason I'm asking is because of my shoulder. I've torn my rotator cuff, and the doctor said because it doesn't get enough blood flow, it's hard to heal. So I'm looking to see if there's something that I can just apply on it for a while and helps it heal itself.
Well, actually, yes. So oh my gosh, Sherry, that's so good to see you. Basically you need an oil that's warming. And it does, I don't know if you heard when I was describing what happens when there's a fever, it causes like inflammation. So that's basically what you would be doing. So you're like on purpose causing inflammation, meaning like just bringing more heat. And you could use, and they're like warming oils. So things like ginger, it's ginger, black pepper, cinnamon, so the spices ones, those will just create that warm feeling that will bring more blood. And they're also the aphrodisiac ones, which is not a coincidence. So you can do that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Any other questions? What's your favorite?
My favorite, oh my gosh, but the Palo Santo one is really incredible, but I'm also really into bergamot. Like bergamot is like the citruses, they're really good to alleviate your mood. So it just, and I have it right here. It's just.
You drop links to the specific brands that you, approve of?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want me to do that in the chat here or on WhatsApp or?
I would say in global chats on Circle, just say, hey, and following our conversation today, here are a few links to essential oils that I love.
Okay, awesome. Well, I mean, what did you get? Because there's only a couple minutes, but was that informative? Do you think it was too long? Was it entertaining, or did you, feedback?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I learned a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I really like the
well.
history part. Yeah, history part was cool. And I also like some diagrams that shows like it taps into your unconscious, subconscious.
Yeah.
It's cool because generally, I mean, I knew that smell kind of triggers subconscious, but like to see why it does it, how it does it, it's interesting.
Spiritual yet grounded.
What? Spiritually what?
Spiritual yet grounded.
Oh, that's good.
That's the giraffe. And I think we can all agree we could listen to Marine talk for hours. You just have the voice of an angel. So thank you so much, Marine. Thank you to everyone who joined the call. And excited for next week with Gerardo to transcend together here on Zoom. So have a beautiful Wednesday. Looking forward to next week. And thanks again, Marine.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.